All right, now let's look at the metals. The metals are range bound, and we think that's going to continue out into April, May. We've been saying that for months, and we're going to stick with that because the patterns are really suggestive of that. So this look here as we switch over to the gold market, and I'll blow this up here, and you can see, look at the range, and look at that big, giant pennant that's forming in there. When you get this big upside move that you see right in here, where it moves from somewhere around 1,200 up to around 2,100, so that was 900 points. That means that when the breakout comes somewhere out over here around maybe 1,800, the next move, the measured move, would be about 900 points. That would be 2,700 in gold. I don't find that to be outrageous based on the pattern I see in here and based on the likelihood that the federal government will not be able to follow through in raising rates very significantly. Maybe you'll get an inverted yield curve with rates at 2.5% or something like that, or 2.5% would be a lot for it to get up to. And the higher the rates increasing are not good for the metals markets. It makes the dollar stronger, especially if the rates are increasing faster here in the U.S. And this projects to an April through June low, as you can see in there, with the likelihood that it's going to get under 1,700, which isn't very far, remember. What is that, 6% down? So we're looking for maybe 5 to 7% on the downside between now and sometime in April or May, and then establishing the end of this consolidation period, as you could see our projection in here. So when I look at the monthly charts, and I'll do a big picture analysis sometime in maybe a month or two when we get a little further out here towards the end of this cycle over here, and then look at where the forecast will be for gold for the second half of the year. So this is just a big consolidation that's going on here after moving up 900 points. This makes a lot of sense cyclically, as you see this big dominant cycle right in there, and the two minor cycles. So look at the minor cycle low here, look at the minor cycle low here, and this minor, if I look over here, this minor cycle low was so strong that it made it accelerated in a big way on the upside. This minor cycle low here and the rally didn't get to this level. So you can see it hits the resistance confluences and then really flattens out. So this rally period right in here, which cyclically compares to this right over here, gives you such a strong message that it doesn't have any way to get upward traction in here because of, well, a lot of different things, and that this cyclical corrective period and the strength of this coming down is preventing it. So this, remember, is longer term money flows when you look at this. So this is a weekly chart and the dominant cycle in the weekly chart. These are some longer term holders that this represents. And when the longer term holders get a move from 1,200 to 2,100, there's a lot of consolidating to do in here. And then that ends right over here. This is suggestive that somewhere in this window between these two lines, that time frame, is where this low comes. That's the low timing zone. And then after that, these longer term holders will be done with their consolidation, is what this implies. So a little better explanation for how these cycle patterns work and what they mean. Here you can see another great example, like I showed you in the Canadian dollar, of how these cycle patterns line up when they're in a period of nesting and you get into this corrections. There was only a little period left right over here for a correction right there, and it gave you those two big down days there, and now starting to move up again. But you can see in here this this kind of triangular shape that's going on, looking at these right in here, and that is still likely going to continue. So while we're in a bouncing area right now, it's going to have a really hard time around the same levels that it did before. This is about 830. This level over here is 840, and that level up over there is about 856. So that's about the upside that we see in here for now, and then moving back to the downside.